And here you can see a 1952 Jaret Jaglin. What a really nicely styled vehicle this is, that must have stood out in the post-war period. With a top speed of 80 miles an hour, it really was ahead of its time. Unfortunately, the company closed in 1955 after 23,000 units had been produced, unfortunately due to their inability to source body shells from their supplier and their perseverance with in-house gearbox production. Next door is a 1968 Hillman Minx, the 1496cc. The so-called Arrow design was delayed until 1966 following issues with IMP, warranty costs, and became much more conventional design than first envisaged. You can see here that if you look at the design of the vehicle, the influence of the Mark II Cortina on its overall styling. Unlike more modern cars, look at the amount of space to work on the vehicle in the engine bay. The engine is not only simple but accessible from almost every angle. At just 4,333 millimetres in length and 1,630 millimetres in width, this isn't a particularly big car, but just look at the amount of space that's inside the vehicle. Without the handicap of modern side protection or safety equipment, it's actually a really spacious car, and I'm sure many of you will remember trips to the seaside in this vehicle in period. Skipping a few decades forward takes us to one of the best-selling executive cars of the mid-1990s. This is a 1999 Rover 825 Sterling Fastback. This Gordon Sked design, based originally on a Honda Legend platform, is fitted in this instance with a 2.5 litre Honda V6 24-valve engine. Production finished in 1999 and the vehicle was replaced by the Rover 75. This particular vehicle is the R17 facelifted car. Seldom seen these days is the Mark II Fiesta. This particular version is an early vehicle from 1983 and is a 1.1L. It benefits from such luxuries as a rear wash wipe and thicker side mouldings and an upgraded cloth interior. It was actually third up in the range, the base being the Popular, then there was the Popular Plus, and finally this particular derivative. In this instance, it's been finished in a metallic paint, and I believe this one is Paris Blue. No classic car show will be complete without an example of the Malcolm Sayre designed Jaguar E-Type. This particular vehicle from 1962 is barely 1 year after the vehicle was launched at Geneva Motor Show in 1961. It's a 3.8 litre Mark I and benefits from the enclosed headlamps, which were discarded when the vehicle moved to the Series 1.5 and beyond. The vehicle actually remained in production in various formats right the way through to a V12 Series 3 model, and finally production finished in 1975. A rare, lightweight and fast sports car is the Marcus Manchula. This particular vehicle is from 1989, F registration, and fitted with a 3.9 litre Rover V8. The Marcus Car Company was established in 1959, its name coming from the founders Jem Marsh and Frank Costin. The company ran all the way through to the early 70s and then was liquidated. The name was actually brought back and they continued to produce cars again right the way until 2007, until production finally finished. It's very rare that you're likely to see one of these on the road today. Unbelievably, even rarer is the MG Metro Turbo. This is a second generation vehicle from 1989 using the A-Series 1275cc engine, which we're all familiar with. but fitted with a Lotus engineered Jaret T3 turbocharger. This particular vehicle put out 93 brake horsepower and was actually one of the first vehicles to benefit from a two-stage turbo boost. Primarily, this was actually to protect the 4-speed gearbox, which wasn't designed for the stresses placed upon it by a turbo engine producing that sort of power. As part of the 1989 facelift, a new interior and dash moulding was introduced to the vehicle, and you can see this particular vehicle has stood the test of time well and is actually superb order both inside and out. And here we've got a Citroën 2CV, the vehicle that ran in continuous production from 1948 right the way through to 1990. This 602cc vehicle is from 1983. The Charleston derivative was originally introduced as a special edition, but continued to form a key part of the range right the way through, almost until the vehicle had been discontinued. This particular car appears to be well travelled and has the nickname Tilly. An unbelievably even rarer car is the Nissan Sunny. This is a 2-litre GTI derivative from April 1992. In some markets the Nissan Sunny is called the Pulsar, and in the UK at least the Sunny name was retired subsequently in favour of Almira itself, a vehicle that's also discontinued now. I guess this must be one of the prettiest cars of all time, and certainly from the 1970s, the Giovanni Michelotti designed Triumph Stag. Running from 1970 to 1977, just under 26,000 of these were made. It was much maligned with reliability and warranty problems during the period, but in actual fact many of these issues connected to overheating have been resolved in the modern age. It's a collectible car. It's a relatively accessible car in terms of pricing still, and as you can see here, having the benefit of both a hard top and soft top makes it very usable. Next is a so-called Farina bodied Morris Oxford Series 6 from May 1964. By this time the vehicle had been updated and fitted with a new 1622cc B-Series engine, and we'd actually seen an increase in power and performance as a result. This particular model ran in this format from 1961 right the way through to 1971, which was a relatively long production run. Probably one of the oldest cars at the show is this 1933 Rolls Royce 2025. It's fitted with a 3.7 litre petrol engine, and this particular model ran from 1929 right the way through to 1936. 3,827 of these were produced, primarily going to the UK market, but some were exported later in life. I can imagine that many of these probably are still on the road. Accelerating forward almost 60 years brings us to the Mercedes W124, the successor to the W123. Designed by Bruno Sacco, this is a later car fitted with the so-called Sacco cladding on the sides, and it's a Cyprus car, so that means that it's in really good condition. Fitted with both leather and air conditioning, which was a pricey option at the time. Also you can see the significant signature mono wiper blade. A shout out next to the Morris Minor Club of Barnsley, who turned out on this particularly inclement day with a strong display of Morris Minors. One of the vehicles they featured was the Morris Minor Traveller, this 1098cc version, and you can see that the wooden rear part of the body is actually structural. The Morris Minor was designed by Sir Alec Isigonis and ran from 1948 right the way through to 1971. This particular vehicle dates from May 1966. Thanks again for joining me on this walk round of the Yorkshire Thoroughbred Classic Car Club Rally in Barnsley. I hope you've enjoyed part 3, and please take time, if you haven't already, to view parts 1 and 2, or indeed any of my other films. Please like, share and subscribe, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Thanks for watching.